If you're watching this video after our live date of January the 11th, go ahead, fast forward a little bit. I always wait a few minutes till we can get a group of people in. Hi, if you jump on, go ahead and say hello. Hello, who do we have with us? Hello, I see someone is here. Hello, who do we have? Do you have a question? Today, we're going to talk about a few things as far as advertising, posting moments, and doing live video feeds, as well as answering any questions that you may have. Hi, Karen. Your chat bar for YouTube or for Palfish? Let me see. I really don't know. It shows mine automatically on the side, so I'm not sure how to change that. Fantastic. Did you have a question today, Karen? If you're just joining us today, if you have a question, feel free to leave it in the chat box. I do have a kind of schedule we're going to go by, but I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have. I'm also answering questions on the app. I think Miss Karen right now is typing out a question for me. And then I'm going to go in and I'm going to start talking about different ways to do live video feeds or different things to do lives about inside the app. Karen, that's really a complicated question because it's hard sometimes for us to understand the students. So, two things. Number one, we should realize that as hard as it is for us to understand what they're saying, it's just as hard for them to understand sometimes what we are saying. So, it can be hard. If you can't get it, then you just are going to have to go without the name. I have several students that I can't pronounce their name correctly. After a few tries, then the mother or father will come help. In general, if I can't understand it and they don't have an English name, I skip it. While it's nice to use the student's name, it's hard. I'm going to have, starting on Monday, we're going to have prop of the week videos, and that's where I'm going to do every week we're going to have like a prop of the week that I pick, and next week is one that will help with names and answering, like guiding the student to answer questions. So make sure that you watch for those because they'll be good. I think that's all the questions off the app. Okay. So here is the first thing I want to talk about is I want to talk about live videos. Okay. What is it that you do when you want to do a live video? Well, I kind of go in and I look at it and I say, okay, what can I do to, number one, I'll get to that. That's number 4 on my list, Miss Karen. So, gather my thoughts. I got stuck on Karen's question. When I want to attract more students or new students, what I'll do is I'll actually go in and I will say, okay, what book or what can I talk about for at least 20 minutes to attract some parents? Basically, what happens is when a student or their parent comes to your live feed, your live reading or talking, whatever you choose to do, the parents are really there because they want to hear how you speak. They want to hear if you're loud, if you're animated. They want to hear if you have a strong accent or not, which is why when I do live feeds, I read books. In the traditional classroom, I would read books to my students. So that's what I choose to do for my live feeds. Right now, I am doing a series where I am reading Harry Potter, and it has been exceptionally good. Okay. I read 5-ish days a week, different times. I read for 30 minutes, not a huge commitment. And every week I have 30 to 40 people who sign up and come to these readings. It has worked really well for me as far as filling out my schedule. I do typically have a rather full schedule after a reading. So like if I'm down on bookings for a week, I may do some additional reading. Now, that's really for kids. When it comes to adults, I like to do live lessons on things that interest me. I watched a teacher, and I wish I could remember her name, and she did a whole live lesson on how she does her makeup. She had like 600 people in that class. I'm not that great at makeup, or I would totally do it. I could probably do how to mess up your makeup. That could be fun. But that's what's working for me is just reading. You can read, and I've done this before. I have a stack down here. Oh, I don't even know what that was. Of cute kids books that I have read for basics classes for our younger students. I have done some older books. Harry Potter is probably the oldest one that I've done, but I did that specifically to target older students. Let's see. Number 2, moments. Posting your moments. Okay, when you post a moment to your class, it can be, or to your feed, you want to make sure that it's something that intrigues the students, or that the students are at least going to want to look at. You can post pictures of this marker all day long, but if that's all you post, that's not really what they want to look at. So this week I posted a picture, and I'm not sure how to insert a picture here, but I can bring it up on my phone. This is a picture that my daughter and I found when we were out in town running errands. A lot of teachers who follow me saw this and found it hilarious. So we found, don't tell me now, I'm not going to find it. Let's see, camera. I'm horrible with my phone, guys. Which is amazing because I do manage to do this job every day. But basically, they said they misspelled the word apple. So I posted this picture and I said, hey, what's spelled wrong? It was something that kind of intrigued them. It was something that, I had several students who came back to me and said, apple, they spelled apple wrong. And that's right. That's what they did, is they misspelled apple. So my number 1 rule when I post anything is to make sure that your post wants to know the answer to a question. So if you post a picture of you and your family eating dinner, post a picture and say, what's your favorite meal? Those are the things that are going to kind of entice a conversation between a parent, between a child or 2 students. You may get teachers who are commenting on that feed, and it really does help. Now I'm going to pull this up here because I am just pulling it up here on my computer, what I actually posted. And I can tell you that I'm not the best at posting a ton of stuff. This will sound horrible, but it's truly just because my schedule for the most part stays full. I do continually post things to my students. I don't necessarily always post things that are going to attract new students for me because I stay pretty busy. Okay. Why is it so hard? I will say this. It is very hard to find your own post. You know what I mean? To find what I have posted. Followed you, replied to your comment. Oh. Okay. This is the picture I posted. The glare is actually on the picture. It's not on my screen. Okay. And that opened up a number of conversations for me, and it worked out really well. So post lives that are going to interest people. Post moments that are going to entice a conversation. Number 3, school holiday is coming. I have a number of students who are stating that they're getting out of school on the 19th. Okay, that's the 19th of January. And that the holiday runs until February 21st. Now, for those of you who don't know, maybe you're new to this game, Chinese New Year pretty much shuts down China for a week. Businesses will close. The actual holiday falls on the 5th. Chances are from the 30th until the 10th, there will be very little business done in China. There will be very little, there's no school. School's out for almost the whole month. From the 19th, I think, to the 21st is when my students said they go back. Stores shut down. Most people will have off at least 7 to 10 days from work. There will be running a skeleton crew at Palfish for those days. There will be very, very few trials in those days. I'm going to guesstimate probably the 30th to the 10th. Now, that means that students are out from the 19th to the 30th. I anticipate more bookings between the 19th and the 30th. Don't hold me to that. I'm just saying from my experience that the few days, like the week before Chinese New Year and right when they come back from Chinese New Year, typically tends to be a pretty busy time. Parents are trying to get classes in. They may not be booking classes right now because they do have like a midterm or exam right before they go to break. But once those exams are over, like my student said, the 19th is the last day. Until they get closer to the new year, more students tend to pick up classes. And then from the time that New Year's is over, which I think is around the 10th, until the 21st, those 10 days, they will pick up more classes in that time. It will definitely pick up once students go back to school. That is really when the spring push is, and it tends to stay busy until the end of June. Well, really the month of June. June is slow, okay? And that's because it's another exam time, but the students get out for July and August for their summer vacation. So it does tend to pick up July and August. But it's really the slow months. There will be days, and I can say this until I'm blue in the face, during Chinese New Year that even those of us who teach 6, 8, 10 classes a day will not have any classes. There will be some teachers who have plenty of classes. That is just the name of this game. That is the way Chinese New Year works. I encourage you to look around if you live near a bigger city that has any type of Asian Chinese population and see if there's maybe a Chinese festival that you can attend. It is something that's very interesting. We will be going to one this year in Birmingham, Alabama. They have a big one up there, and there's food and music, and it's a lot of fun. So Karen, to answer your question, yes, definitely still open classes. There will be students who will take some. There will also be students who are traveling because a lot of families travel for the spring holiday. And that brings me to Chinese New Year. The official holiday is February the 5th. There won't be a lot of action on February the 5th. All right, I see we have a couple of other people here in the room. Does anyone else have any questions at all? Any questions at all about Palfish, about getting hired, about maybe things that you're confused about, you're concerned about? If you have applied for Palfish and when you applied, it pops up and says verification failed, that typically means that that first document that you've uploaded doesn't match the name that you typed into the system, where you have to put in your legal name. If you type in Sam Smith and my name is Samantha Smitherman, it's going to come up incorrect, and it's going to say verification failed, because they do want to verify that you are who you say you are. So I'm seeing on my list of people who have applied this week, I'm seeing a number of people who come up as verification failed. All right. Do we have any other questions? Questions? Hi, Christy. How are you? We have Karen and Christy. Karen and Christy. I think Karen's still here with us. If you missed the first part of the video, I have talked about reading lives. Why do I read books? If you follow me on Palfish, you'll see that's what I do for my live classes. I read 4 to 5 days a week, and right now I'm currently reading Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. So I talked about why I do reading lives. I've talked about why you post moments that entice a conversation, the school holiday, and Chinese New Year. I feel like I should be playing some music, but I always worry about getting that copyright strike on me. Miss Christy, do you have any questions? Ooh, 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 ooh. Let's see what I can come up with here. Pulling up my app to see if I have any other questions. If you are not a subscriber to my channel, make sure that you do subscribe. I have some videos coming out this week about maximizing your financials as far as how much money you make from Palfish. We're also going to have, starting on Monday, which is going to be our prop of the week. Sounds good, Christy. Check it to see if I have any questions. Okay. If you are new, realize that when you post a video, when you go in there and you open your schedule before you even apply for the official kids course, you open your schedule and you say, I can work every day from 5 to 7. And then you apply for the official kids course. Well, then what happens is when they approve you, which is typically at night because that's, daytime there, they open those slots for you. So make sure that if you're applying, you're paying attention to that. You do not want to be caught in a situation that you miss your very first class because it got booked very quickly. Christy, I've done both. I tend to do the 30 minutes is what I schedule. However, I will say this. If you schedule a 30-minute live class and you only stay for 15, that's okay, as long as you haven't charged for it. All of my live lessons I do for free, so I don't charge for any of it, so it's not a huge deal if I leave early. If you charge for your live lessons, which once you're an established teacher, I think is a great idea, that becomes a residual income for you. Every time someone replays that, you get paid. But if you charge them for a 30-minute lesson, you need to stay for the 30 minutes. If you're doing it as free, it's okay to leave early. Okay? Now, what I have found, Christy, is even if I have, let's say, 5 people who sign up in advance for the live lesson, well, it shows that you're live, and the longer you stay, the more people will come in and visit you. Don't be shocked if you're doing a live lesson and a little money sign pops up. Sometimes when people come to visit your live lessons, they will leave you a couple of yen, or they'll say, hey, you're doing a great job. And so you kind of do that in order, don't let it, oh, you're welcome, Karen. Don't let it shock you. It scares me every time because I'm not paying attention. I'm focused on reading. Now, how do I do my reading? I do all of mine through ebook. And so I set my phone up and I teach through my phone, and I am looking at my book for the most part. Now, if you are reading, sometimes you're going to have to get a drink or cough, and that's just the reality of it. It is what it is. I haven't experienced anyone upset. You'll also see like a jump in followers when you do live feeds. It's a good way to build up your clientele or customer base, or I'm not sure what you want to call them, your students. It works. Now, I will say this, if you schedule them, that's something else I want to talk about. If you schedule them out, make sure that you are paying attention and you don't miss them. Now, let's talk about schedules. And I'm talking about some things that I see in the groups that people are asking about. If you have 50 slots open, let's just say you have 50 slots open starting Monday. When they go to start scheduling trials, if you open 50 slots and you've already got 30 of those filled, that looks like a desirable teacher. Okay? And I know this can be a little bit of backwards logic. This is something that I've kind of pieced together from different sources within the organization. What I have done is I realized, okay, well, let me shrink down the number of slots that I have open. Because I was opening from like, here it's really 6 p.m. all the way until 10 a.m. the next day. So I would show 250 slots open every week. And I had this very small number when I first got started that were booking. And then someone said that, it was another mentor said, you know, they look at the number or the percentage of slots you have open. And the more you have open out of your, or the more that you have filled out of your open, they view that as a desirable teacher. And I kind of sat there and went, so let me make an adjustment. And I went through and I closed out the times that I really didn't want to work. Okay. Like, just gonna be honest. Like, I really don't want to work at midnight on a Monday night. So I closed all those time slots out and I shrunk it down. And then my bookings started going up and up and up. Okay. So think of that in advance. That's a great way to kind of boost your bookings if you have just too many open. Now, I always left open from Friday night all the way into Saturday morning because that is a good booking time. But that's just kind of a reminder for you guys. An idea for you guys, I guess I could say. Let's see. I don't think we have anyone else who's coming to lessons tonight. Do you have any other questions, Christy? That is my 30-minute devoted time. I always stay later if we have a number of questions, concerns, or things that people just aren't sure about. But seems that we're pretty quiet tonight. I see there's a couple of several teachers on there teaching tonight. Did we have someone else join us? Oh, you're welcome, Teacher Christy. I'm here every Friday night at 9 o'clock. If there's nothing else, guys, I hope that you have a wonderful day. If you have questions, make sure you check out my other videos. There's well over 100 now. And like I said, Monday is going to start a new day because we're going to have Prop of the Week. Bye, guys, and I'll see you next time.